There are different ways in which you can enter a commercial agreement with a client. One of them could be just time and materials, or we call that cost plus. The other one is, of course, day rate. The other one is, say, milestone. Now, day rate, as the name suggests, is pretty straightforward. You're there for a day. You evidence through a timesheet or equivalent, and therefore it goes through and gets paid. Now, milestones are less about when you're doing contracting, or that they can enter into it, but more so when you're doing consulting. Milestones, for me, work well when there's a degree of ambiguity about what it is you're delivering. The client will never admit it, so we don't really know, but we just want to put you on as a level of effort. That's mostly unlikely. But the milestone might be something that says, at this point, we need to be able to demonstrate the following criteria. Think of it as a SMART objective: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. Now, the reason I say there's a degree of ambiguity in that is quite often the customer will have all these predetermined milestones, but they aren't mature enough to actually stick to their own criteria. Now, the upside of that as a consultant is that you can have a degree of latitude for agreeing what that criteria is as you go along. The downside, or the flip side to that, is if you aren't able to achieve a milestone and the client doesn't accept partial milestones, well, then you're out of pocket. And unfortunately, I've been in that situation before. I've known the customer, or at least the representative within that customer. We had a very strong trust and integrity between us, and I was able to demonstrate that. Then that person moved to a different department, project continued, and then all of a sudden I'm dealing with someone who didn't really understand the value that I was creating and looked at everything black and white, and it took me a long time to get a milestone through. It almost sent me broke, that particular job. So I learned from that. But again, milestone contracts around outcomes, day rate obviously for time. Milestones require that you have clear scope, clear criteria. But honestly, in all the time I've been in business now for 20 odd years in different businesses as a contractor consultant, mostly consulting, of all my milestones that I've put through, I've never really had a debate that meant that they weren't going to pay me. There's been delays, etc. Or maybe they said, we don't need you to do these final milestones. But again, shifting from day rate to milestone has its pros and cons. If you go into it eyes wide open, it could be quite profitable, reduce risk for you. But if you don't go into it and the customer's forcing milestones on you and you really don't feel safe in doing so, you really want a second opinion, or at least take a step back, because if you buy work, you're buying risk, and that's not a good place to be, even if you are desperate to get a job.